Hello, hello. Just waiting to see if I get a few people to come in. Today, wanted to talk about um, understanding what's really happening. But I'm waiting to see if I have some people come in. If we don't have anyone come in tonight, we'll reschedule for another night. Um, I see somebody just came in. Hello, hi, Chef. Waiting on a few other people to come in. If I don't get many folks to tune in tonight, I'm just going to redo this live. Thank you for tuning in. I'm talking about the toxic relationship, what's really happening. Some people are confused on what they're seeing. We have some real time situations going on out here on YouTube. I'm not sure if you're familiar because you're really not over in the sector that we're in. But it doesn't matter because it's familiar. Toxic relationships are familiar to everyone. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes and see if I get some people to come in. If not, I will reschedule. Let's play a little music or something until we get some people in here. This may not be an ideal time. It is almost 9 o'clock. Some people may be going to bed, getting ready for work in the morning because that's usually what I'm doing around this time of night. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, what I really wanted to touch on tonight is people, when we see toxic relationships and people literally go back to something that we can see maybe they shouldn't be a part of. We can see it because we're outside of the relationship and we really don't understand how these people can't seem to separate themselves from something that's extremely toxic. I mean, the physical abuse, the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, um, whether it's public or private. Uh, we just can't seem to understand why people will stay into these relationships. Myself personally, I was involved in a narcissistic relationship for 10 years, and I have quite a bit of experience. I'm not a clinical psychologist or anything of that nature, but I do have some insight as I was in um, that relationship. The main reason why we see people go back into these relationships is because of it's called hoovering. Well, no, I stepped ahead of myself. It's really a trauma bond. The trauma bond is what keeps us going back to these relationships. Most people don't understand that it's really something chemically and psychologically going on with your brain. The reason we choose to go back over and over again to these relationships that are so unhealthy and sometimes life threatening for us. The trauma bond it's almost like an addiction. It's almost like the person becomes a drug, sort of like I don't know, a heroin or cocaine. This person, the ups and downs, it does something with the dopamine in your body, the pleasure. Um, it's like pleasure and stress. You're getting ups and downs, and you become addicted to that. I really don't understand the science behind that, but that's what I understand the trauma bond to be. Um, it's some stages. I did a little research. It's some stages of that love bombing. I mean, of the trauma bonding. The number one thing is the love bombing. That's where they make you feel like they're your soulmate. They flatter you all the time. They give you all of this love and attention and affection more than you've ever gotten from anyone in your life. And then it goes from there to you trusting and depending on them, heavily, uh, because they've been this person that you've always wanted your whole life. And then they become this person that you heavily look on for that love and the validation. Then they start to criticize. And then they do the gaslighting. And then they start controlling. Then you start to lose yourself. And then that is when you become addicted to those highs and lows. Those are the 7 stages of trauma bonding. And that is what most people have going on when they are in these toxic slash narcissistic relationships. Um, I wish we had more people here, but we don't. I'm going to keep on going. Um, I don't know if you guys know. I see who's in my chat. It's one person here now, but there are a few um, people here on YouTube and Facebook who have these publicly open toxic relationships going on, and they're wondering why the young lady. Um, they think she's lying. It's a lot of judgment going on. Um, one minute she's abused, and the next minute she's forgiving, and the next minute people feel like she may come back, and um, the guy is making this person out to be a liar, and the other person, the female, just wants this guy to go on with his life and be successful. She's caught into a trauma bond at this point. She is trauma bonded. um, the gentleman is literally hoovering at this point, which means hoovering was named after the vacuum cleaner way back in the day. That they had a vacuum brand called Hoover. So the vacuum sucks up trash and dirt and everything. It sucks things up. So the hoovering is when the person utilizes whatever they can use, whether it be the love bombing, um, just any positive thing they can say to these people to pull them back into their relationship. That is what the hoovering is. I can clearly see it because I've been through it. Um, it's not that she really wants to go back into this thing, because she can clearly see that she wants to get out of it. But when you have a familiar person who you felt like you loved and they come back, oh, they still do have the Hoover brand. Okay, didn't know that. Okay. But when you have these people who are so skilled in hoovering, it's very easy to give up and turn against what you feel and go right back to that relationship. You can easily be blinded, and because the person is skilled in reeling you back in, you find yourself back in that thing. However, I feel like this person who publicly let us know that there was some toxicity involved, I feel like that was her crowd for help. And I really feel like she doesn't want to be in a relationship, but if she's hoovered, she may go back. That's a cycle. Sometimes you separate yourself and you find yourself going back over and over again. It's a normal cycle. The thing is, when someone says that they're being physically abused, mentally, emotionally, believe that person. First of all, we have no right not to believe them because we don't know what's going on in the privacy of their home. We have no clue. So if someone's telling you something is happening, there's a very high chance that it is happening. Now, the thing about a narcissist is that they can fool everyone else besides the people who live in the home with them. They are able to put on a mask, and the mask is that of perfection, or um, you just think the person is the best person in the whole world based on what you see happening outside the home. It's like a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde. They can be Dr. Jekyll outside in public, and they can be Mr. Hyde inside the home. Only the people inside the home knows what's happening. Now, you see some family getting involved of the guy. You see some family getting involved. I don't know how much the family knows, but I do know there's such thing as flying monkey, which is people who are recruited, whether they know or they don't know, by the narcissist to agree with them. They actually end up abusing the person who's being abused by the narcissist. It's a very deep cycle, and it's very hard to understand unless a person has been through it themselves. Now, I have a whole lot more I want to talk about, and I think I'm going to do it on another time because right now everyone has left the chat and I would like to interact. So we will do a part two on this. Maybe we have more people, more interaction, more questions, and we'll talk more later. Thank everyone who joined and everyone who will look at the replay. We will do a number two on this. Have a good night.